We've all been there. You're part of a group that just clicks, everything flows, and then you've been on a team where it's a constant struggle. So what's the real difference? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the hidden journey every team takes, from just being a bunch of strangers to becoming a high-performing unit. Let's get right into it.
So what is that secret ingredient? What's the magic that turns a disconnected group into an absolute powerhouse? Well, the answer really starts with understanding what a team actually is in the first place.
Okay, so that's the textbook definition. But what does it really mean? It's not just about working together. The two magic ingredients are right there: mutual accountability and a common goal. Without that shared ownership, that shared direction, you've just got a group of individuals. But with it, you've got the foundation of a real team.
But here's the thing, not all teams are created equal. They actually form in two fundamentally different ways. And, that origin story can dramatically change how they operate. So let's break down the difference between what we call formal and informal teams.
It's a pretty simple but really powerful distinction. Formal teams are top-down. The organization literally creates them with a specific task in mind. Think of a project committee or your own department. Informal teams, on the other hand, are bottom-up. They grow out of the natural social connections between people.
And here's a perfect example of a formal team just delivering huge results. These quality circles, they were intentionally formed to solve problems. And the outcome? It was incredible, a return on investment of 8-to-1. That's the power of intentional top-down team design right there.
And on the flip side, you have the power of informal teams. This mentoring circle, this wasn't some corporate mandate. Nope. It grew organically, from employees just wanting to support each other. And it became so powerful that it actually outperformed traditional mentoring. It just goes to show you, sometimes the most effective teams are the ones we build ourselves.
So regardless of how a team gets its start, pretty much every single one goes through a predictable life cycle. And honestly, understanding these stages is like having a map for the journey ahead. It helps you know where you are and what's probably coming next.
And here it is. This is the classic roadmap, developed by a guy named Bruce Tuckman. Forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. Almost every team you'll ever be on goes through these phases. Let's break down exactly what happens in each one.
Okay, stage 1, forming. This is basically the first day of school. Everybody's polite, maybe a little reserved. You're trying to figure out the rules, see where you fit in. There's a whole lot of uncertainty as people are just kind of testing the waters.
And then the honeymoon is over. Welcome to the storming phase. This is where personalities start to clash, ideas compete. It can feel messy, maybe even unproductive, but this friction is absolutely vital. It's how a team forges its identity and builds some real strength.
And right after the storm, you start to find some solid ground. This is the norming stage. The team starts to gel, they're resolving conflicts, they're establishing their own rules of the road. You can actually feel the shift. There's way less fighting and a lot more flowing. Now this is the goal. In the performing stage, the team is basically a well-oiled machine. The structure's in place, everybody knows their role, and the focus shifts entirely to smashing the team's objectives. All that energy that was spent on conflict before, it's now channeled directly into performance.
And finally, for a lot of project-based teams, there's the adjourning stage. The task is done, the goal's been met, and the team disbands. It's the natural conclusion of that team's life cycle. So knowing these stages is really powerful, but it's kind of passive, right? So the real question is, how can you actively guide a team to success? Well, that brings us to the leader's toolkit, some practical steps for building a stronger team. The first and maybe the most critical step is just making sure everyone is rowing in the same direction. It's that simple. A team can't possibly succeed if people are off pursuing their own separate agendas. A leader's job is to connect those individual goals to the team's one common vision.
Next, you need to play detective. Think of your team's progress like a game of tug-of-war. On one side, you've got the driving forces, all the things pushing you forward, like, say, strong communication. On the other side, you've got the restraining forces, the things holding you back, like unclear roles. This simple diagnosis is called a force field analysis. So once you've identified those forces, your strategy becomes really simple. Feed what's good and starve what's bad. Your job is to amplify everything that's working and systematically start to dismantle what isn't. It's an active, ongoing process.
So after all this work, after you've moved through the stages and you've actively worked on building the team, what does success actually look like? What's the destination we're all aiming for?
True team effectiveness is kind of like a three-legged stool.
First, did you achieve your goal? Second, are the people on the team fulfilled and supported? And third, is the team sustainable for the long haul? You really need all three for a team to be truly great.
So how do you get there? Well, it all comes down to specific behaviors. High-performing teams, they don't shy away from conflict. They lean into it. They listen more than they talk. They see individual differences as a strength, not a weakness. Just think of this as your practical checklist for building a truly effective team.
So as we wrap this up, let's make it personal. Think about a team you're on right now. Based on everything we've covered, can you identify which stage it's in? Are you guys storming, or maybe you're performing? And more importantly, what's one small thing you can do using this toolkit to help that team move forward on its journey? That's definitely something to think about. Thanks for listening.